Difference between haploid, diploid, single and duplicated chromosomes. Okay, 4 very important words we need to know both for Year 11 biology and Year 12 biology. Okay, first of all, when we're talking about haploid, right, we refer to N. Okay, and that just means one set of chromosomes. If we talk about diploid, we're talking about 2N, and that means 2 set of chromosomes. So ploidy, right, notice that both of these words have ploid in them, is just talking about the number of sets. Ha means 1, so haploid means 1 set. Di means 2, so diploid means 2 sets. If we had tetraploid, tetra means 4, and so tetraploid means 4 sets. Okay? So in terms of haploid chromosomes, so this everything on the left of this line, okay, we only have 1 set of chromosomes. So in here, our haploid number is 2 because we have 2 single chromosomes. Okay? Here, our haploid number is still 2 because we still have 2 single chromosomes. This guy doesn't have a homologous pair. This guy doesn't have a homologous pair. This guy doesn't have a homologous pair. And this guy doesn't have a homologous pair. So 2 cells which are both haploid. But what's the difference is that the top ones are single chromosomes or single stranded. They've only got one, what we call chromatid. Right? And that just means that they're literally a linear, just one line of DNA. So all of their DNA is wrapped in here, and it's wrapped in and goes all the way to the end in there. Okay? In the bottom one here, though, we have a duplicated chromosome. Okay, that means that we have 2, what we call sister chromatids. Okay, and so that means that we actually have 2 molecules of DNA here. One of them is on one side like this, and the other molecule of DNA is on the other side like this. Remember that these 2 sister chromatids have the exact same DNA, so the DNA in here is the same as DNA in here. Okay? So that's haploid. Would have no homologous pair, all right, and only one of each type of chromosome. So later on, we're going to talk about counting our chromosomes, but this might be chromosome number 1, and this might be chromosome number 2. Same thing here. This would be chromosome number 1, and this would be chromosome number 2. Okay? Jumping on to this side over here, we have diploid. Okay, and what diploid means is that we have 2 sets of chromosomes. So we still have a chromosome number 1 and a chromosome number 2, but each of those chromosomes, number 1 and number 2, have 2 copies of them. Okay, so here we have 1 chromosome number 1 and a second chromosome number 1. This one I get from mum, and this one I might have gotten from dad. Okay, and that's what it means to be diploid and have 2 sets of chromosomes. You can still have single-stranded and duplicated chromosomes for the diploid chromosomes, and they work much like the haploid ones. Okay, so here in our single-stranded chromosomes, we have 1 chromatid from dad, so we can call this dad's chromatid, and mum's chromatid. Okay, this one is homologous to this one, so these are homologous, which means, so they're both homologous, which means that both these chromosomes, they're the same size, and we can see that, and we can't see their genes, but for example, if I were to identify a spot on dad's chromatid down here and a same spot on mum's chromatid, we would have the same type of genes. So for example, hair color. All right, it might be the different version. So dad might have given me blonde hair and mum might have given me the black hair gene, but they're both the hair color gene at the same spot. That's what it means to be homologous. And the same thing works for duplicated chromosomes. So here we have one homologous chromosome and its homologous pair. Okay, so these two are homologous pairs. Okay, and so once again, this one might have been from dad, and this one might have been from mum. Okay, and on top of that, though, because these are duplicated, mum's chromosome is once again, just like back over here, made up of sister chromatids. Okay, and what does that mean? It means that the DNA strand on this side of this chromosome is the exact same as the DNA strand on this side of this chromosome. And same thing with dad. The DNA on this side of this chromosome is the exact same as the DNA on this side of the chromosome. Now, what does that mean? Let's go back to that hair example for the single-stranded. So let's say we have the hair gene here and the hair gene here. All right, we're talking about the hair gene. Okay, whilst in dad's, this side up here for the single-stranded chromosome might have been blonde, whilst this side might have been black hair. For duplicated chromosomes, this might be blonde, and this here might be black. Okay, but if we were to look at the same spot on the sister chromatid, here, that's also black. And the same spot on the dad's sister chromatid here, that is also blonde. Okay, so that's the difference here between duplicated and single-stranded and haploid and diploid. Okay, let's apply this to mitosis and meiosis. Okay, first thing we have to know is that normally in our cells, our chromosomes look like this. Normal cells have this kind of chromosome, okay? So most of the cells in your bodies all have diploid. They're all diploid, so they have two sets of chromosomes, but those chromosomes are all single-stranded, okay? What happens when we're going to go from mitosis and meiosis is we actually have a moving around between these four types of cells, okay? So if we're getting ready for either mitosis or meiosis, we're going to jump into this box over here. So we're getting ready for mitosis and meiosis. So we've jumped down here. If mitosis were to happen, we're just literally going to break these chromosomes at the centromere. Okay, anaphase literally does that. And so mitosis literally jumps back into this box up here. Okay, so that's mitosis. Mitosis is done. We literally go from up here to down here. Okay, meiosis, on the other hand, is a little bit more complicated. Meiosis, we're going from down here, this box over here, where we have diploid and duplicated chromosomes, okay? And then meiosis 1 happens and we jump into here. So this is meiosis 1. So we're going from diploid duplicated cells, okay, with chromosomes that are duplicated in diploid cells, into haploid but duplicated, okay? And that's because for meiosis 1, where the cells are going to divide is here, okay? We're going to get the homologous pairs going each way. So half the homologs are going to go one way and half are the other way in anaphase 1. And so meiosis 1, we have cells that look like this, okay? Notice the amount of DNA at the end of meiosis 1 is the same as a normal diploid single-stranded cell, so this box over here, okay? Because we have 1 line of DNA, 2 lines of DNA, 3 lines of DNA, and 4 lines of DNA. And over here we have the same, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? But they're different in how their chromosomes are. Okay, and that's the key part there. Meiosis 1 happens and we have this kind of cell, and then finally meiosis 2 is going to happen. And we're going to finally have haploid cells with single-stranded chromosomes. All right? So lots and lots of information there, but hopefully that helped out in understanding these 4 terms.